Welcome parents to the second part of our Flip Learning series. Now this video is going to explain to you about how you can optimize and help your child really maximize their benefit from the Flip Learning environment. We're going to go through a couple of things you can do. Okay? Don't worry, it's all on screen, so you're going to be able to take it just fine. Now, how do you help your child prepare for this environment? There are 5 steps here. 1, you've got to know your digital platforms. The communication platform first. How do you contact your teachers and your educators in case something goes wrong? Or maybe you miss something and you need to clarify. What is the learning platform? Because there'll be a primary mode of delivery of this information to you. And finally, how do you submit the work? There are typically going to be a few platforms you need to understand. Of course, there are other things like how to run YouTube, but I'm not going to go into that stuff. Other things, how to be organized, okay? To-do lists, setting up a home timetable, getting that consistency in your child's educational life is very, very important. Next, we've got a couple of guidelines set up for you, kind of like think of them as checklists. Run through these checklists before every learning experience. You'll really optimize the experience. So there'll be video watching guidelines, there'll be note-taking tips, and class participation tips. Now, some video watching guidelines. First, sit your child in a quiet, distraction-free setting. Ideally, make sure it's an area that is well ventilated and bright. Silence the phones. Don't let them have a phone around. Don't let them have any devices that can beep and make noise and distract them. Close all tabs and windows on that device. Let them only open one thing, which is the learning. Don't connect them to social media while watching your Flip video, because they just end up with messages. Somebody updated their profile and so on and so forth. They've got to turn it all off. And have your notebook present. Get everything ready before you begin the process. Use a set of headphones. Headphones really help because they isolate the sound and they really bring you immersively into the learning experience. So these are video watching guidelines and learning guidelines. Even when you're reading text, if you're not watching a video, put on some concentration music. It does help sometimes. When you take notes though, then you can go through these with your child. Make sure that they have a dedicated notebook. So if they're learning science right now, a dedicated science notebook or a dedicated math notebook or whichever one. They need to take their notes properly. Draw the diagrams that you need to draw appropriately into those notebooks. Don't just rely on watching it and then come back. You have to paraphrase things or redraw things in your own understanding to really understand things. Pause when you need to when you're taking notes. Don't worry about trying to go through the whole thing all at one go. If you don't understand, just pause, rewind, and continue on. And when your teacher asks you, please stop the video and do something, do that. Because there's going to be a point to that. They don't want you to move forward unless you go past a certain point. If there's some questions that you have, write them down on the side. When you do your notes, always have a little section at the bottom there which says, any questions I have from my teacher. Now, if you've been taught the Cornell note-taking method like everybody has been in Fairview, then you'll also know that at the bottom right, you need to leave a section there for questions. And finally, when you get to class, bring those questions and ask your teacher. There's going to be a time when your teacher starts the class and she says, any questions, guys? Is there anything you want to clarify as we begin this class? Okay. So these are the note-taking tips, and these are very important, alongside skills like Cornell note-taking tips as well. In class, when you're participating, ask the teacher the questions that you wrote down. It's so important. Don't be shy. Go for it. Your teacher's expecting you to ask these things. Participate. Everybody knows that an engaging learning experience is how you learn. But if you don't engage, you can't learn. You've got to get out there. Whatever you put into it, you're going to get out of it. And if you're going to sit quietly in class, you're not going to learn very much. Collaborate with your peers. Talk to the other people. Don't be afraid of looking silly. Everyone doesn't know something. And the only bad question is the question not asked. Help your peers. Teaching other people is one of the best ways of learning. If one of your friends doesn't understand, don't call them dummy. Help them along, because at some point you've got the same issue as well, and you don't want anyone to call you dummy too. And always ask for your help. If you need help from your teacher, just raise your hand and call for help. Okay? Your teachers will run activities in the class, and they're expecting relative independence from you guys to do these discussions and help each other, and then ask them for help. So they'll come along and give you a bit of a hand. Now parents, how can you work on this? Shift to becoming proficient at the shift takes time. Usually it takes about 6 months to build good habits. So you got to stick at it, and you got to stick at it in a very disciplined way. If you can't work with your child in a disciplined way, it's very hard for them to do it. So you've got to get that regime up and stay with it. Go through the tips and the guidelines religiously. So before the note-taking tips, have your child read through them and then do it every time. At least do this a couple of times until they really get it in. And don't just read quietly, read it out aloud. Okay? Set up routines in the house to support family time for learning. Nobody likes to be learning and then somebody else playing on their Xbox on the side. Okay? So create a whole family time to do this kind of thing together. And verbalize success. Okay? There are learner affirmations that we've set up for you right after this. I'm going to share with you. Learner affirmations are one of the best ways to build that confidence in you. Now, a couple of the learner affirmations I'll share with you. I will ask for what I want. I will take care of myself. I will be present in the moment. I stick around when times get tough. And I will be on time, and I'll stay till the end. And I will succeed because I choose to. Now, if your child can go through these learner affirmations every morning and practice them again and again, a cycle, a habit starts building up. Now, there are lots of ways that you can be a wonderful parent in all of this. One of those important things is watch this video with your child and let them ask questions about it, and then build your own personal routine. You don't have to use all of the words that we've said here. You don't have to use every word in here. You can build your own and share with us if you've got some great ideas so that we can improve this video and help other people in the future. I sincerely wish you and your family the best of future in your endeavors in learning. Ever onward.